When we think of Egypt, we think of gold, pyramids, and the terrifying Hollywood version of mummies. But the reality is much stranger and far more fascinating. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians mastered the art of cheating death, preserving not just bodies, but stories. Most people know about the famous pharaohs, but what about the mummies that left archaeologists speechless? From crocodiles worshipped as gods, to a king who needed a modern passport 3,000 years after his death. Today we are uncovering 7 mummies that challenged everything we thought we knew about history. Let's start with a woman known as Lady Rai. She wasn't a queen or a goddess. She was likely a nurse to an ancient queen. But when her 3,550-year-old body was discovered, archaeologists weren't looking at her title, they were looking at her hair. Despite the passage of 3 millennia, her hair was so perfectly braided and preserved that it looked like she had walked out of a salon yesterday. It proves that the Egyptians didn't just care about the body, they cared about style in the afterlife. Imagine a hairstyle surviving longer than entire empires. Ramses the Great was perhaps Egypt's most powerful leader, fathering over 150 children and ruling for decades. But his most bizarre journey happened in 1974. His mummy began to show signs of fungal decay, and the only solution was specialized treatment in Paris. Here's the catch. International law required a passport for any passenger, dead or alive, crossing borders. To get him to France, the Egyptian government officially issued Ramses II a passport. His occupation? King, deceased. When he landed in Paris, he was greeted with full military honors. He remains the only mummy in history to travel as a legal citizen. No list is complete without King Tutankhamun. Found 20 feet underground in 1922, his tomb was a time capsule of pure gold. He took the throne at 9 and died at 19, but his afterlife was just as dramatic. Shortly after his tomb was opened, the man who funded the search, Lord Carnarvon, died from a simple mosquito bite. This birthed the legend of the curse of the pharaohs. Whether it was a deadly fungus in the tomb or just bad luck, Tutankhamun's discovery reminded the world that some secrets are buried for a reason. Imagine walking into a tomb expecting to find a king, but instead you find 100 crocodiles staring back at you. In one ancient site, archaeologists found over 100 mummified crocodiles, preserved with the same religious precision as royalty. To the Egyptians, the crocodile wasn't just a predator, it was the living embodiment of the god Sobek. They believed that by preserving these reptiles, they were harnessing the strength and protection of the Nile. Some mummies even had tiny baby crocodiles on their backs, prepared for eternity with their mothers. We all love our pets, but the ancient Egyptians took pet ownership to a whole new level. Researchers found a 3,000-year-old gazelle mummified with VIP treatment. It wasn't just tossed in a hole, it was stuffed with fine materials, wrapped in royal linen, and placed in a custom coffin. This gazelle was likely the beloved companion of a queen. In the eyes of the ancients, if you were going to live forever, you certainly weren't going to do it without your favorite pet. Mummification was usually for the 1%. The expensive resins used for preservation cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. But then archaeologists found the mud mummy. This 25-year-old woman was encased entirely in a shell of mud. It was a budget version of mummification for a family that couldn't afford the luxury chemicals. But the real mystery? Lab tests showed the mud was applied years after she had died. Was it a secondary ritual? A way to repair a damaged mummy? Science still isn't quite sure. Finally, we have the tattooed mummies of Deir el-Medina. Archaeologists found 7 women whose bodies were covered in intricate ink. One woman had over 30 tattoos of eyes, cows, and lotus flowers. In a world where we think of tattoos as modern, these women were using them 3,000 years ago. Because of the complexity of the designs, experts believe these women were the professional artists who decorated the very tombs we explore today. Their skin wasn't just a canvas, it was a resume of their talent. These 7 discoveries prove that ancient Egypt was more than just gold and kings. It was a world of deep emotion, religious devotion, and even a bit of humor. Every mummy we find is a reminder that while the people are gone, their stories and their hairstyles can live forever. Which of these mummies surprised you the most? The king with a passport or the woman with the tattoos? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures into the unknown.